Have you ever loved someone so much that their betrayal felt like it was physically ripping the air from your lungs? That's what I felt, standing in the entryway of our Chicago condo, the cold November wind rattling the windows. My wife Sarah breezed in, cheeks flushed, eyes sparkling with the story I knew was a lie. She was wearing a man's tweed jacket a size too big, smelling of stale cigar smoke and a cologne that wasn't mine. Found the most amazing vintage store on Michigan Avenue, she chirped, hanging it in the closet. But I saw the monogram stitched into the lining. Mr. A. Knot of ice formed in my gut. My wife was wearing another man's jacket, and my world was about to shatter. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my everything. We built a life together, brick by brick. We renovated our Lincoln Park brownstone. We traveled. We dreamed of kids. I thought we were solid, a fortress against the world. But that jacket, it was the first crack in the foundation. Soon, the cracks spiderwebbed. Her phone, once left casually on the counter, was now glued to her hand, screen down. She started having late nights at the office, something her marketing job had never required before. Then came the girls' weekends that my gut screamed were anything but. I started feeling like a ghost in my own home, a prop in the background of her new secret life. The humiliation was a constant bitter taste in my mouth. I'd cook her favorite dinner, only for her to text an hour before she was due home. So, sorry babe, something came up. Don't wait up. The discovery wasn't a sudden explosion. It was a slow, agonizing bleed. One night she fell asleep on the couch, her phone slipping from her hand. I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't stop myself. My hands trembled as I unlocked it. The texts were a gut punch, hundreds of them, to a contact saved as Mark. They talked about their secret lunches at RL Restaurant, their stolen afternoons at the Langham Hotel, their plans for a future that didn't include me. There were photos. Photos of them laughing, kissing, tangled in hotel sheets. It was Mark Reynolds, a smug, wealthy developer I'd met at a charity gala months ago. I remembered him shaking my hand, a predatory glint in his eye as he looked at Sarah. He knew she was my wife, and he didn't care. The change in Sarah was chilling. The warm, loving woman I married was replaced by a cold, calculating stranger. When I gently questioned her late nights, she'd fly into a rage. Are you accusing me of something? After all I do for us? Maybe I just need some space from all this. Suspicion. She twisted my love into a weapon, making me feel crazy, controlling. She was gaslighting me, and she was brilliant at it. Mark and Sarah operated with a terrifying arrogance, believing they were smarter, untouchable. They'd even joke in their texts about my cluelessness. Reading those messages, I felt a part of me die. The loyal, loving husband was gone, replaced by a hollow shell. One evening, I found a receipt from a jewelry store in her purse. A diamond bracelet. It wasn't my gift, and our anniversary was months away. That night, I followed her. I watched from across the street as she walked into a bar on Rush Street and straight into Mark's arms. He slipped the bracelet onto her wrist, and she kissed him with a passion I hadn't seen in years. I sat in my car, the engine off, and just broke. Sobs racked my body, silent, violent tremors of pure agony. I wasn't just losing my wife. I was losing my past, my present, and my future. In that moment of absolute desolation, something new was born. The grief turned to ice, the pain to purpose. The tears stopped. It was time to stop being the victim. The next morning I began my work. I was no longer a husband. I was a strategist. I installed discreet spyware on her laptop and a GPS tracker in her car. I hired a private investigator, an ex-cop with a reputation for being thorough and merciless. I needed more than just texts. I needed irrefutable, legally binding proof. For 2 months, I played the part of the devoted, slightly distant husband. I made her dinner. I asked about her day. I smiled while my heart turned to stone. All the while, the evidence piled up. Photos of them entering and leaving the Langham. Audio recordings of their phone calls, planning their trysts. Credit card statements detailing their lavish gifts and hotel stays. I documented every lie, every deception. My plan had 2 fronts, legal and social. Legally, Illinois is a no-fault divorce state. But infidelity can impact the division of assets, especially if marital funds were used to support the affair. I met with the most ruthless divorce attorney in Chicago. We laid out a strategy to prove dissipation of assets, how Sarah had wasted our shared money on her affair. The bracelet, the hotel rooms, the expensive dinners. I had receipts for everything. Socially, my revenge needed to be a masterpiece of public humiliation. Sarah was climbing the corporate ladder and was obsessed with her public image. Mark was a well-respected figure in the Chicago business community, his reputation built on a foundation of family values. Going to burn it all to the ground. The stage was set for Sarah's 35th birthday party. She'd been planning it for months, a huge, extravagant affair at a rented-out art gallery in the West Loop. All our friends, family, and her most important work colleagues would be there. Even her parents flew in from California. She was radiant, gliding through the crowd, accepting compliments, Mark lurking smugly in the corner like the guest of honor. Midway through the party, I stepped up to the microphone for the traditional birthday toast. Sarah stood beside me, beaming, holding my hand. I raised my glass. To Sarah, I began, my voice steady. She's a woman of many surprises. I smiled at her, a cold, empty smile. For months, she's been working so hard, not just at her job, but on a special project. A project of passion. A murmur went through the crowd. Sarah's smile faltered. I thought, tonight everyone should see the fruits of her labor. With a click of a remote, the massive projector screen behind us, which had been showing a slideshow of our happy memories, flickered. It switched to a new presentation I had titled The Sarah and Mark Project. The first slide was a high-resolution photo of Sarah and Mark kissing outside. The Langham, time-stamped. Gasps filled the room. Sarah's face went white. She tried to grab the remote, but I held it out of her reach. The next slide was a bank statement showing a $5,000 charge for a diamond bracelet, next to a photo of Mark putting it on her wrist. Her mother made a choking sound. Slide after slide, the evidence played out for everyone to see. Photos, hotel receipts, screenshots of their most damning texts. I narrated it all with chilling calm. Here they are, discussing how clueless I am. And here, planning their next weekend away while Sarah was telling me she was at a work conference in Milwaukee. The room was dead silent, save for the sound of Sarah's ragged breathing. When the final slide showed a close-up of the Mr. Monogram inside the tweed jacket, I turned to her. Her colleagues were staring, her friends were backing away, and her father's face was a mask of pure fury. Mark had already slipped out a side door. The aftermath was total annihilation. Sarah was fired the next day for violating her company's code of conduct. Her friends ostracized her. Her parents, utterly humiliated, flew back to California without another word to her. In the divorce, the judge awarded me 75% of our assets, citing her blatant dissipation of our marital funds. She was left with nothing but her shame and the debts she'd incurred. I sold the brownstone we'd renovated together, erasing every memory of her. I never saw her again, but I heard she moved to a small apartment in a distant suburb, working a low-paying job, a ghost of the woman she once was. Sometimes, late at night, I sit in the silence of my new, sterile apartment, overlooking the city lights. I won. I got my revenge. But there's no triumphant roar, no fist pump of victory. There's only the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the cold, empty space beside me in the bed. I destroyed her life, but I had to destroy my own to do it. The end.